You are watching the biggest, the largest, the highest, the greatest, the tallest, and the mightiest African spiritual platform. I'm always Queen. Hadasha, call me Empress. Makida, Labraska, the Sun Goddess, the Spear of Destiny. We didn't do such a 11 taxon. Doors rough. Unsugana for Tianiama. The man crown Krabia Kwaba at the Bar Revelations platform. So we are sorry, we are late. We apologize. I welcome you people. Today we are discussing the same topic we've been discussing here. Angels, spirits, and their relationship with music and musicians. And then what is sounds of frequency in spirituality? And when they are discussing, I'm the first person I bet you, second person so I bet you, and papa ne toso miensa. You know, Baba discussing. Great Lion by Prophet Chumesi Ebaye and another person will also come. The same topic. We want to know the in and out of all these topics. No need baby obia tackle nifi so that obia no matter your level no ubenya bibi ewo musana sisi no yeah no this is my topic. Me so hu no baby a parasite bi and all parasite ewo ho. Mama what platform ni so nyina ya mama nyina akwa aba. Ye lateness ni nyina achi no maba. We appreciate you guys. Mrs. to be kind. Also, we love. I Facebook for no so mamu nyina akwa aba odo kwan so. Mama my guest no akwa aba ya late nti yen take much of your time. You go straight into the topic. Mama di kan ma papa akwa aba. Or one of the old pillars ni bi. And waba set no so. Papa yemo akwa aba at the Revelations platform kwesi so.
Have a grace.
Yes, papa.
Yeah.
You. Ashafo no so mo afew nti say a word or one or two na chia omo na bo mo abaso they've done well na fe yewura topic ni direct straight ya elite nti
It's here for madam was so mo so platform mu say 2 years ago ni eba ha and then so ya say bio yan sha sintem mo madam was say munya botra twen na mo betie nsempa na ye de nam no Nyamenka ye ho fra onua na ono so mfra ne nua na ono so mfra ne nua na ye ntie ni nsua de ebeboa ye nyina why
ebeboa ye nyina yo abusia ye discuss topic ni say we angels spirits any of relationship with music any musicians na nkasa ngofo na moto ndum no na we here no so to nchenya sounds any the frequency a ewo spirituality mu na eye topic no papa sesi no ade e se wutumi hwe di kan address what is angels, what is spirits, and then obeba na waba be do musicians no so na fe frequency any spirituality we are now dey abom na ba bia opesa wo de fa bia no na wo de afa ho.
Okay. Michecham Ladakam ni founder and leader of Spiritual Science Society Africa. Yeka angels, yeka spirits, yeka music, and yeka vibrations. I think that these are the 4 mainstays that you be discussing. Now, angels are dying. Sanka yebeka ne kasemu anase sene na nchira set angels means messenger. Simply put, messenger. Ti yeka ne messenger na say anka yan nkasa kwa yan mambre kasemu no ana mambre mu no yeka messenger your friend obofo. Ti etu abofo so munye den omonko baby ye den ko kansem. Ti yeka bofo a den messenger. Yeka bofo a messenger. Atiase. Na angels are messengers ana so mo yeden. Na yeka spirit nso a yeka spirit yeka the intangible aspect or the intangible and the invisible realities or intangible and the invisible entities of the universe. Ntade bi yemfa ye ni hu bia na yeden spirit. Ade yemfa ye ni hu ana ye ni instruments ayet me detect ana say enya de e wo honam. And the entire friend your friend spirit it's a kind of simple terms adibia friend spirit adibia yan fa yan ni den ehu and your friend spirit and as honhom bi ni ene atiasefo bi omo wo ha omo ni honam sa yan ni fa yan ni hu omo ene your from spirit na your kind of music Asha se beka ne music a meka ne say yente asese ne anjom totie ana asese na music tie ya fa music a music here measurement or the study of time or the study of numbers in time. Asem we ya asem a bepese ye hu ne yete ase ene ye besua de bi na ade ya besua no e wo mu nchichemu nson na san nchichemu nson ne de besua ade no na ne a bepese hu ne emu nchichemu nson na bepese de ye sua ade na bepese hu ne san ne ma nson yi emu ena ye nim de ne yente ase bia wi ase bia de efiba. So I always like to go by the Septuagint or the 7 principles of classical arts. Ehona dey person me start fi. Inti fa classical arts na, you the lower 3 quadrivium, you higher 3 you the lower 3 trivium, you the higher 3 quadrivium. The lower 3 trivium no, grammar, logic, rhetorics. And the higher 4 quadrivium no, astronomy, arithmetic, the study of numbers, astronomy, the study of numbers in space and time. Geometry, the study of numbers in the study of numbers in space, and music, the study of numbers in time. And you know, say you have music there. Now, me say yet say music just time, and music just numbers manifesting in time. I don't know make kanesa. You find say meka maka bibi. A word na maka, and as me make it sound, right? But meka we make it 2 sounds. Meka Now I've said the word a number of times within a time. To my repeating within a time, that is music. And so repeating something within a time gives it an identifiable rhythm. So that rhythm and you identify as what? As music. So music, simply put, is the study of numbers in time. It is your music there. Na make I say, obo ade nim so de hunu a ana say den obo ade nim de bi e den ewo emmere mu enim pendodo a ade bi e den eka ade bi hia ana say ani bi ana say den sound bi e den eba wo den ewo mmerem. Na make I tell you. So once we go in there, then we need to understand say music is an aspect of the universe which works on the principles of repetition. Yes, the law of repetition. So music, simply put, is just a conscious application of the laws of repetition by man or by the universe itself. Thank you.
No, also thank you. Intino, say you can't say now one said, Intino, who are the musicians? What you say? And now sounds no frequency, and yet sounds now in suono deba, and also say, and from a deba, yet the gina frequency, was spirituality. No, how do we go about it? And how do we put that one? How do you explain that one?
Thank you. So sound in spirituality. Any sudden, any any biara ana sudden in pupuye biara ewo mmiri biara mu any sunsanso a edeba nipa so ana se de ba adwen no so ana se de ba sunsum so. So nipa adwen na sunsum so. In pupuye biara ne mpendo do e de epopo mmiri biara mu any den hu sunsanso e de ba. All I mean is the number of times something vibrates within nature or time. The number of repetitions within time any sunsanso e de bre nipa ade bia wo honam adwen any sunsum so. Na yaka sound anase yaka ene ana sound of spirituality mu a any ade biara eboa ma heighten the mind of the individual or the spiritual students, heighten the spiritual aspect of the spiritual students. Ebi ni say ebi ameka masem say bibia ye fa fi adwen ni mu ye fa de say abofra esu den na ma abofra no su ni yesu eyesu ni keke ana se esu no ewo nia eye wo adwen ni mu on sa abofra esu a esu so be ye no wejai ena esu so osua so esu no osu no bebre na esi at the same time esu no osu no ewo birim esu no osu no ewo ne pitch ana se ewo ne pitch on the frequency na sa pitch no have a what e ko adwen ni mu a ye wa ko asu ni mu a ye wo bibi e fan envelope steps wa dream mo eden e ka bom e na eden what e magnify sound e kwa dream multi na sa sound na ebo no e sound that e very suitable to yourself and as a sound that nipa person oti ana bo sa bufresu enye su an kasa kra oti o ye den ho to it's they say it induces a sense of emotions within you which is harmonious to what you may want to see or have. And to bon say even in more spiritual people no and mostly spiritually inclined people no in pen people so mo taati o mo hu fi abusua ho o mo taati o mo hu fi o mo yere no mo mba ho enye say o mo yere mo mba ho ye o mahi nemo all those contradictory sounds no then it is stabilizing the state of mind, it is stabilizing the state of concentration, it is stabilizing the state of thoughts. The same way it is stabilizing the state what the state spiritually. Why is it that most of the times when we are trying to deal with spirits or you hear about spirit dealership any one can say or say or call dan obi anim and also call empoano and also call beposo and now call paxo and now kwesiye. Why do you always find those places to actually what contact spirits? It's not only certain aspects, but say within such environments, no, an environment near then when you tear sabatias in India, one munim soon, when I saw me soon munim dear for no one time to Nakuro. Tiana now better so no bishop Woodham, no quatting the Kuro, and Macron, yeah, then Abatuno. Honor Shano, when you're assumed or living within nature. The very frequency of mind, the very frequency of sound on here, for him to be able to operate in a sound mind or within that environment. Basically, I was half funny be ho. Uko hu na beka na hwe ne hu fi bi na me ameda kem, I don't know that kem so betuma boa me a. The point is, near order any priority, and your priority. Or priority is so be adwuma pesika. Only priority is so be grow spiritually. That is why he needs that environment for him or her to grow. The same way so na one atabin be on to say mistakes bi o mo krom to say ye no money ho kan no. Bon say ono na yire nte dan by kum anaso ofie kwa odan ono kwan den ewom on time ben in banom anaso on time be busuya obre oben wom adentia because he needs to have that state of mind to be able to operate. So when it comes to sound in spirituality, one thing we need to understand is that you can't speak about music without discussing sound, because sound and its repetition then music and I say identify music which is rhythm. Which of the sounds are more harmonious to the individual being? Your sound be harmonious, or sound be so harmonious. But one thing you need to know is that each and every sound that we listen to, we are tuned our frequency to that very sound. What be sounds? I don't know to me who advert. On shadan kasa what na see advert no. In Jumbo shadan kasa what na see Be uma utie uma fe so tin na wa start here then too. How did the mind attune to that sound to be able to memorize and everything and be able to go by that rhythm? So when you talk about a rhythm, now do I know then FM keynote tan 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 because who knew lyrics, but what my then who the rhythm I ban saying because the mind itself is programmable and whatever the mind is exposed to over time, the mind tends to mold itself to fit and suit that vibrational frequency. Into what vibrational frequency, maybe a vibrational frequency. Akonya on the vibrational frequency, everything around you on the vibrational frequency, which brings us to what numerology stands for. And why numerological vibrations exist. Because in the frequency of all things, no, that is how those who have delved deeper into mysticism were able to identify certain frequencies that are more aligned with certain people and certain beings within nature and not with others. And say, okay, then this life is not so much of what we say it is. And we can say, say sound be any sound mudi about saying, then our sound, and I said, then our music mu. To me, our music mu. But ultimately, you mean also. She need your man, ultimately, you mean also. Ultimately, you mean also. Because say, and some that one Jumuni and a man ya with a war. Ujidi, and Jumia ya with a war. And you be more videography money, we mono. More person more can asana emotional, more specific sounds are more there than what to say. Some orchestra, why do you put that sound over there? Unconscious to the individual, subconsciously, it is influencing you, inducing that state of what? Of pain, of sadness, of sorrow, of attachment, of love, of affection. Within you are the ocean. To wana uti na eden. When ya atinke bi ide amanipa no. Na ya odi bi ide abamu. Na rehu bi ide abamu so that you become aligned with that very individual person. That's that very intention. Any message na eden eba no. Na nya bi ase ye ko wo hu asem. na be de shatawale kai ashema anya bia wote a owura be ho. So sound music has its own has its own mind, if you are going to put it well, has its own mind, and that mind is carried by itself. And when that mind meets any other mind, it has it has an operative influence upon that mind to bring into effect what that mind being sent as a sound is. So you can actually have your mind, your thoughts, and then on your thoughts, create that thought into the sound. So that sound will affect the other mind to be able to realize that very mind you are trying to project. Intimate as any sound will be beautiful. Yes, we have sounds that can really get you agitated. You can actually ask about horn. There's one music genre called rock music, metal music. Very, very irritating. When Uko shows now, who are more that shows now? One would you know, be high. No, free, no, Tony, no, yes, sir, no, yes, sir. Maybe yes, your friend rave. And you be jumping, dancing. Why do you think at that point in time? And you be able for Adele music, and then for Enfia music in base you are. Near was slow notes, no. Near so bit me free, so be anka so about that man. So music is a message of itself, which is what? Which is a command to the mind to operate in a certain frequency, on a certain way. Synonymous with the very thoughts of the projector that projected the sound.
You are watching the biggest and the largest. Ebusuya, sounds and frequency asemi angels in the spirit in the eke kan ho asemi. Eno ne actually strani abasa so ende de baby area beduni. Enti say no Lord Ackkham no angels no. What eden no mo ne yen nipa ewo in common. Yen ni omo ho ana ne ho yeden. Na yaka spirit ansunsu na what angels ne spirit so ntamu no eyeden na hwan ne yebetumi akasa asomasi ye musician.
Okay, yaka angels ne spirit I would say angels are spirits if you have to go by the common understanding. Angels are all spirits, but all spirit angels, because once we bring in angels, there's some hierarchy behind about the classification of spirits. But let's go to the origin or the source of angels. Angela, this angelic system, it stems more from the Kabbalah. And then the names see most of this modern world and our idea of angels, the Kabbalah. The Hindus will say demigods, but even with demigods, they still have certain further classifications. Now, over the hierarchy of the angels, and as over the Kabbalistic system, and I say, near give birth to Judaism, Christianity, Islam. And they who named the Abaya and some year. Ofasa nyamana adeba be hunye it gives 10 hierarchies of God, but 13 in all. What do I mean? It gives 10 hierarchies of God, but 13 in all. The 10 hierarchies are the Ein Sof, the Ein Sof O, which is the degree of 0, the degree of 00, the degree of 00 or 000, the Ein Sof O. Then it comes to Keta, Chokma, Bina, Gedula, Gebura, Tiferet, Nezak, Hod, Yesod, Malkut. Now, when you take all these degrees, you realize about the realm of Nezak, which is the realm of what? Of the sons of God, or the archangels. You realize it speaks about the co-creators of God. Now, when you come further to the 9th degree, you realize there you find the angels over there. Before the angels, you find the saints and the soul of the pious ones. So from Nezak, Chokma, Bina, Gedula, Gerura, Nezak, Hod, Yesod. So Nezak, Hod, Yesod, and then Malkut. So from Nezak, which is the realm of the archangels, or what we will say the demigods, you then come further to the soul of the pious ones or the saints. Then the angels. Then the soul of what? The lower ones or the dead people, and then the demons. From there you come to the clipots, which are the opposing end of what? Of the 10 hierarchies of God's earth and his spirits. Now, when you take all these degrees now, one thing you shall realize, they say, the angels we speak of, more often than not, or plainly speaking, just all the spirits you know of. Meaning, angel can actually be any spirit that you know of. Because, what do I mean? Obama say mo anasaba mama meremu a. Ebia yeni Michael. Yeni Michael wa ha. Yeni the Michael wa ha, but yeni Adade. Adade is the god of war. Yeni Michael wa ha. Yenim eye bi atigari, which is also an executioner spirit. Yeni Michael wa ha, but yeni malafia. These spirits to us. Sanke ebe call the system the angel and as you refer to the angels so man. Sankofu and kebeka some demons. Why am I going to make that clarification? Because with the system of angels nearby, am I saying who say then these spirits are angels and these spirits are demons? Or these spirits belong to these angels have this nature? No. And also study the history of the Israelites, which we have that system, or we have a Theogonia, which is a whole system of world religions that we study in my society. When you go deeper into it, you realize what we call demons were simply put those spirits which belong to the enemies of Israel. So when the Israelites set up their system or their cosmology and their cosmogony, they demonize all the gods of their neighboring states who were enemies to them. And among them create them as pure what entities. So even now from that very point, you can even the classification of angels being some good entities in the Quran, it is flawed because it is more of spiritual politics. Yes, in culture to your politics, it is more of cultural politics. So let's break down the angels and let's see. What are the angels? Angels are all spirits that are messengers of any given spiritual system. So the Accounts also have their own spiritual system with spirits that are also running errands for a body. And so in our system, they will qualify to be angels. When you go into Hinduism, Brahma is manifested Trinity as what? As Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, or Shiva. When you get the manifestation of these entities, you realize that within them we also have demigods. The demigods are also what? Co-creators and co-partakers of God. So within that system, the demigods are like operating like how we will see them to be as what? As archangels and angels and other entities. So every cultural or every spiritual cultural system, almost somewhat the same system of messengers running errands for the well-being of God. And that God can either be Onyankopon, Olodumare, Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, Buddha, can be anything, any spiritual system that you know of, Mau. Once you go into all those systems, you realize that angels manifest in all those systems, and not just the Christian or the Christine or the Judaic system. No.
Right now, angel do one tabine and an hoya white. Me who don't angel be a black. And I'm so how do you classify all these people?
Thank you. The description of spirits are also dependent on time, place, circumstance. culture. Let's take the Indians. When you see every god of the Indians, is it dressed in the way of the Indians? Thank you. When you say that of every culture depicts their images of their gods and their entities, reflecting themselves and their culture. That is why the problem of the white Jesus is now a problem when people woke up to it. Why? Because the gods themselves can assume any form. Can I boldly tell you that the god we call over here is Zagaja? You know Zagaja, the one found at Nogopo? We said Nogopo is the name of the town, you are from there. Nogopo is just the name of the town or the village. The true deity is what Zagaja, where the female counterpart being Mama Avlekete or Mama Avleketi. What you need to understand is that within all of these systems, we all have ways of representing our deities. So for the Judaic or for the Kabbalistic or for the Masoretic system to the Kabbalistic system, to give a description of angels having wings, that doesn't mean that is the way spirits are meant to be. We are the one who actually pictographically depict them in that way, depending on the qualities we assign to them. Let me give an example. Spirits are share in food here, so spirit no say you're depicting and you're creating image. Also because or you'll be all the food. So all the qualities of farming, you see them near their man. It is we projecting that into it.
So and they are not there.
Wherever thought goes, energy flows. Now we are going to come into that very aspect in there. I'm going to give you, I said, talk with Zagaja that we know over here as the tender God. On one anymore can focus as Ototrobonsu. Whenever you call Ototrobonsu, I can Christopher Fanny go Ototrobonsu say, it's actually an African deity. the god of thunder and rain. Yes. When we go further into it, the same god of thunder, when you go into India, the same god is known as what? The god Indra, the manager of the heavens. Spirit bakuna, odu e waso no kire, odu e waso no kire. Let's take Lord Shiva. An aspect of Lord Shiva is what? Bhairav. Bhairav is the what? Is the deity of Shiva who walks with a dog and lives by the graveside. That aspect of Shiva, onchi menstrual blood, onchi oba waye bra, onchi hwe, onchi boja, orenam, oyebibia, even orini pefunu. That same deity, no, unu so the aspect bi wo, yen I manifest wo yen aspect, yen hanu baby. Ye friend Tigari. So what we call Tigari is what the Indians call Bhairav. It's an aspect of Lord Shiva. So the God you see in your religion, if you understand the practice very well, you realize.
Are you saying Tigari is Bhairav?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, Tigari is called Bhairav. Yes. So one thing you need to understand is spirit no share wahano. Wa pama on the way then esi so or there then mo de build any mon chere say no mon chere.
Based on your culture.
On your culture, oba ha no my on chere there the man no. Let's take it to be Tigari wa ha ye cook na my man no. Oba ya bra onchi. Ye twa moja bibia ma no. Uko India ye the same thing. But that aspect of Shiva no energy sa de no. The same Shiva na no, ne hu fa bi no so ye den enji moja. So one deity e amamre any apama ogina so de moja. E de wo amamre any apama o ye den on fa enji moja. Inti okok we fukuro ma apama on ne okosi ni so ana ne ye de tete no no e no de ye den odeje. Oba ha no ma ne de tete no de ye den odeje. That doesn't mean the spirit is limited. No, it is the culture that is defining how our contract and our connection to the spirit is built.
You are watching the biggest, so I need a Matthias and Fufu. And you say, you Tigari or Naman or Renam. Hey, into honest or didn't perfume. What
you need to understand is let me give you an example, practical example. Maame Grace, you sure how any mood, and you say, we are spiritual, make and say, you are spiritual journalist, right? Journalist on spirituality. Umbanu ni as a mother. Ukunu ni as a wife. Members ni as a boss, as a spiritual leader or a prophetess or reverend. Workers ni as a boss. Does that change who you are?
No.
But why do they call you all those things? Because of the functions you play in their lives when you get there, right? The same thing with spirits. So when the spirit is here, operating as a boss, it has a name and a way it operates. The same way, send any relationship and employees, the same relationship no mbabenya. Dabi, the same relationship no kunubenya. Dabi, why then do you separate yourself or do you separate how you relate with people based on time, place, circumstance? But it's the same you. So the same spirit, what the spirit is meant to do at the point in time, the people it is meant to what?
Baby, or be any or
baby, you won't be any baby, any son of bed or bed, where they it is our funny Fabina say, way you're greater than Yakanina. So when you'll be out those who wide, why you do soon near my where they over 2 whom be with epic. Because woman now wouldn't say minimum now, no one sounds so yellow, baby, no, or not to you.
And to say all these entities in your lifestyle, you do more really perfume, Caramine, you do so Ricky Barbane, you be so no man woman. Is your money now, I'm only nipper, many women, why may you superior over an uncle?
Superiority, I don't think, is a matter of species. Superiority is a matter. Do we even have superiority in spiritual path? No, it is more of qualification and evolution and realization. You can be a human being, but until you realize yourself and then you grow spiritually, how then do you tell yourself you are better than the spirit?
The awareness.
So it is your awareness. So spirituality. So there's one statement I always say. Thoughts is the only thing, spirits and mind is the only thing human beings and spirits have in common. And the only differences between spirits or the only differences between men are the way they think. And the differences between men and spirits are still the way what we think. So it is not a matter of who is superior and who is less. It is a matter of who is highly realized or who has realized more of God within himself.
Your awareness determines your strength or your ability.
Your degree on the spiritual path and not your species. Yes.
Okay. You are watching the biggest. Mobile keep questions in our bank because of our time, you know. Into no more questions and then start to say drop both Facebook and YouTube now. More questions, you know. Embra because now and then I say I late. Kakra. Into Lord Ackkham right now, no. do we actually have to submit to anything? Like, do we have to, what do we call it? SSO being soon be ana.
I always say, oh, so many what demu. Christo Becca said, me soon no soon sumu and no quarimu. Then the question will be soon bang, quine bang so was soon sumu. No quarter bang, quine so na winim. The same thing I'll tell everybody. How do we go in with spirits? Because I always say, if say whom would riemu, now whom will riem, now whom was ramu, now say whom were at the sayemu any day, any other chinyemua. Then is it a matter of worship? Because even without worshiping, we are still under the influence of one another. What do I mean by that? A sumuba within our own physiology as a human being or within our own biology, assume induces something we call melatonin within the glabella, which actually induces you to sleep. The same thing we consciously induce within ourselves when meditating, so that we can be able to visualize and project. So even without you worshiping anything, those things are already having influence upon you. So if there is a spirit in the tree, and that tree is giving you oxygen to live, and there's a spirit in the sun that is providing you with vitamin D to survive, and there's a spirit in the darkness, which is already giving you providing you melanin to be able to sustain yourself. There's a spirit in the moon, which is also inducing brain fluid rise and fall, and also impacting the earth surface. Then what do you mean by say worship will be an worship? Even without knowing what to worship, we are already under the influence of these things. So is it a matter of worshiping them or they worshiping you? No, it is not a matter of worshiping them or they worshiping you. It is a matter of knowing who they are and how you can consciously operate within them. Because without you or you knowing them or not, they are still operating as they must operate.
So we don't actually need to go and your best one and you are an African. You are, in fact, you are Ghanaian. Ghanaian kwa na spirituality no. Obaka trust says one fa we amba wo ba bewu. So you and I know. We know ba bewu we bewu and a fa hin kosi you ti han tuti bi. And I bet you for my obi nam and o ma say obi aware and o ma to be nye toothpick that and then be so obi.
That is it. So that is where the issue comes in. When it comes to, you see, there's one thing with evolutionary utility and then submissive utility. When I come to that, I mean in Spiritism. Evolutionary utility is when Sister Maame Grace, ebi awarise, me fa bibi na de imagine onu ukunu so.
Man worry.
For example, how was your husband able to get to you? Because he was able to get himself to a level where he was able to meet and match your inner qualities and the things you're looking for. So, do you now demand him or do you now live and coexist with him? You coexist with him. You don't demand him. The same thing with spirits. So when I speak about evolutionary utility, that is when we grow to a level where you now have them on that level where you cannot have that conversation, that communion, that realization, that environment. Other than say, you go below and then try to command and compel. So there's one thing with being qualified for something, and there's one thing begging for something you don't qualify.
Matthias,
thank you.
Matthias, say, wa will be won't I say second kitao. Wa when who say na nimu na edi twa ade, who fa nkotwa wo ho. By say no wo Ghana ha. Looking at everything, how spirituality has become. Won share TV kura, social media there, wo da won paso kura na ni hwe ya. Wow, wo biye kura no abeba wo ho. Looking at everything that is going on when it comes to spirituality, how do you feel? Be honest. Do you think we should, sometimes I feel we should quench everything spirituality ni asomunye? Because I yet to say, just say, any problems are. And no, the just say, who should I be as how do you see, when you see everything going on with spirituality on social media, be honest, how do you feel?
I don't feel okay because spirituality is not the way it is being portrayed. I think what they are portraying is Spiritism. And Spiritism is more about pacts. Pacts, fulfillment, and then being punished for breaking the pact. That is what Spiritism is about. Spirit never ho, mi hia bibi, kofi, baso yedma we mame. Okay, meya mawa, ebi ya mejo, edwan mienu, tumpan mienu, se mienu. Okay, mate, meye, makwa na kofi akwakoye adwuma no. Okoye we baya wa femu de no anya den wanye. That is when it comes even physically. Obi ye adwuma ma. Ukofo obi ye adwuma ma no entua oka. What do you think will happen? That is why Spiritism is a field where me personally, me I want to teach me tambo, me time person call Spiritism because it is a field where it is more of give and take. But human beings, 99% of us are careless. We can't hold on to covenants. We can't hold on to our vows. We can't hold on to oath. We break rules anyhow, and you're trying to actually have a pact with a spirit that has existed 2,000 years before you, 10,000 years before your birth.
He doesn't know it is enough.
As I say, so now you go into something thinking you can actually get something. That is why I don't buy into that. So most of this, one fan buy way beyond, it is basically because one ventured into something which was more of what? Of a buy and give, which on that principle, no. So obano dan oka nyame na beka chem se menye bibi ma.
Uno akọ enta into.
Uno akoye, uni made no na akọ so no nyema. So aja ma dia. That is what we say. There me cite example we say. Honhom won, say na honhom tie. You say, "Wo fa mo na, baby abe fa mo na ho na ye gya no." Anya sa na akankasem. Ade ba kwa onie. Se nipa wabra bonie, wabo abrabara du pempensu we. Na afra honhom ba. Na honhom bra, this is makofo wakobo obi pa mmeboa. Na honhom boa obedu ha no ma. Fa show tim say, "Efi wo ha, ebedu ha nyina no." Enye wo de, honhom na de ye den. E de ma o. Inti eda honhom ne bubefu, wo befom. You better chima.
Obagbra.
Ah, obefi ono ya den obaha.
Meanwhile, na hana wabedu nka you could have.
Basa hana bedu hu said wa ho de na den epeja ye.
Nti nka obekọ.
Anka wo beko. So when you actually perform things with your strength and with your all the laws of nature na wo ho na de all the bobra na. Udi be bia na wabo bia na den aya wo de. That is why it is said, yana na mu inimdie mu ntetiye mu no, in all mystical and occult circle, that is why it is advised say, do with your strength until your strength can hold no more. That is the only time you call on God. That's always make the statement. A spirit will never do for you what you must do for yourself.
This one, the munye ni quote mami pa. Munye ni quote mami.
A spirit will never do for you.
Oh, 1 million Ghana da. Wa quote spirit wa kwa do $1 million. Are you not going to die? Can you even handle it?
You haven't managed even 10,000 in your life before. You see? So that is why a lot of these things happen. Now, okojiwie na fechia semba na fe do no hu ni say honhom na ehom mone. Masam ne say anyebe honhom de ka ne bra no jeye. Ode afie ne bra wo jeye.
O se fa wo to ba ko bra wo
dwan. Hu ye. E na ye bone. Unya sika na ode 5 amba no hu ye. Wo to ton sa no na ye bone. Na ade na fe de wanye ni nyina wi akwa ka cho say family bra me adweno say honhom bone. Na ye be no de ma na ye bone ma. Ade wonpo.
The thing is that the people who are also leading people into spirituality, omu nyina na omu nim ni omu ye no nti wahu ade tu na wa ha nipa tu back they are also or a spiritual person ma menka ne sasa na omu taika a also o lead obi into spirituality onu anka se nipa no onim se onim a de okodi na chi ni sunsun so be na be ba ne so. Do you get it? The innocent people,
ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Oh, I said never.
And that is the point because whatever it is, you are living under the umbrella of your parents. That's why you still bear your parents' name. The same thing with when you have a spiritual leader. Whatever the spiritual leader does, it is shared for all. The same thing, whatever the followers do, it is also shared. Or it is all what? Gathered for what? For the well-being or for gathered for what? For the harvest of the leader. That is why Christians will say, Uji Yesu Christo dia, meaning the intervention spirit of Jesus is there. But until you you sign under the what? The umbrella of Jesus. That is when the karma of Jesus covers you. Let's take the story of Solomon. Yes, Solomon bompaya. Ni hu nyina fifire, di nsuogu ni hu bompaya, kikam ahweanya den amba. Ne mo kan say, "Ye God, remember the vow you had. Remember the covenant you made with my fathers." Meaning, once he invoked that covenant, he is not under the umbrella of the well-being and the karma of his ancestors. Same thing that you be see gwaswa. If na no nyina na de na de so that he carries on the karma of them.
Ni part no ho ase on pe obi na achro. Vincent Williams. So ni part no ho ase on pe o. Crawford yo mo ho akọ hihye nia mem o maso aye hye. Nti abosum no mo ni sa ma sha obose mema o na ntwe ba ko na se year bi aso na ntwe ni mentumi anta. Uzu uni abotre kra.
What you need to understand is that the spirits are also there for a purpose because without Sanka, if there's no purpose for them, I don't think they should be existing by now.
Media me dani say waka kire me say one fa wo ho ankobo bibi a obetumi aye. Nti na me say meye bibi anka medani occult. Because they speak sense. Or say ya akopim say wa ho oden asa. na nkrofo no so ahonhom ne bi wo ha wa be ye wade akodu level bi omo ebehu se wa bo modern na omo ade bi afeel so
And that's how it works.
eno na make kire wu no
When you do it and do it well, they come to your rescue and help. And that's nature. You see, sometimes we think, say, only time only home and holy time home sorry ben and so home sorry bua e brea okoto yanim na bo mpai sa be ne pe ene brea home ye den be bua. Why you don't even know ne say so na pakwa ka kire ho say me ko ye adwuma kwa no e prayer to the universe. And the universe will make all things possible for you to get your job. Nti na do now be a store na manfo abeto ade.
Exactly.
Nti ko duro crampo no be a store emba. So what you need to know is say you don't need to actually be in a special room for you to know say spirits are with you. Wherever you are, spirits are with you. There are spirits who you do not need to what? You don't need to actually call them to your service. They are there naturally. Once you employ the laws of nature as it must be employed, they are there to also come in and serve. That is how it works. That is why you be drone now we are singing that. But obroni ba no be any business or ha na BT. Why? Because the obroni aside soon sumadiye no onim the laws of nature to get things aligned into what? In line with his purpose. They be me say example, me say me be biem. Why na Agboboloshi market? Ena West Hills Mall. Emu why na beka say wo dress akọ say wo kọ hwe hodom aba. Agboboloshi na bekọ ana say mean come say West Hills am for to me spend the whole day not to no twa photos. Emu ahi na ekọ Agboboloshi market why say ade no.
Awakoto je ni.
Does it mean Agboboloshi ye honye? Enye say honye o.
E wana bibia wo.
But does it mean West Hills ye honye? Debbie, but even West Hills before you enter the environment, the structure, the branding, everything has been structured in a way to induce your sense of belonging, your sense of spending, your sense of luxury. So within that environment, you feel like I am a special person. So you need to actually what? Spend. The same thing about our hand, my own diano, no diano. Why?
While watching the biggest, my children, me mbadebeka say local birth flu. Near one more hot no money you do not. Nina so be besi bofro to kuro ya. Abusia say and that made you money me dede ni na Lord Ackkham etwa ne show no. O say ya kwapem say wa hoodin asa. Abusia wan kasa nipa na wonam ho wo energy source o. Ubetumi akasa wo spirit source. Wo kodi na efemfa mo ho adan na hu say wo sebi. Na say mo bi koto abo etia 20,000 pounds.
Nkwatia.
Koto owo.
Kwatia.
Me come chiro.
Owo no ko eden. Obefi gozi isika man.
Me ya say okoto owo no mo ka chen say nipa tu pe na chi na ade na say. Police for ni soldier for.
Ana nipa na sa ade come for na police for
I might think so because odane ne ho a.
Meaning we I to enim de bia. We all said that we so na mobile consultation mo ka kira nsi enim ye koso.
Ya be ni den.
Utwa ho a no wa frɛ police ni de ogina ha otwen ho. Ma ne nsai. You see, let me tell one thing. Sometimes we think, say, let me be sincere. In Pempina, people go into this path, and people come to it with frustration.
When your head is not sound,
there are four.
Is sick.
Thank you. There are four people who look for God or who look for spiritual truths. One, the distressed. One, the curious. And two, the curious. Three, the diseased. The diseased. And I said the one looking for, let me put it, the one looking for knowledge. And a four, the one looking for money. Tini what distress, disease ni beba distress ni mu. Ni oye den, oye curious, person who bibi keke, yesi bibi wa mbese me hwe ni ewo ho.
Me ko frɛ obofo.
Ni oto so miensa, ni oye den, oye hwe nimdeɛ. Ani ye to so nan, ni oye hwe sika. Sa nipa nan wei, na oye hwe nimdeɛ, hwe sunsumo kwan. Ma mpempi na mo amota hwe sunsumo kwan ne pa. Distress for no, any sika for no, na ye den eta dɔso.
Knowledge ni di esua.
Knowledge for no kwan ye den esua.
Eche no ebeche.
Why? Because you see, people tend to think, say, Matna sorry them, we are women to sorry them, Matna sorry them for 38 years. Sankabe ye. Say, but that's only 30 years, yes. Now, ye nasa enemy fear ko hadia. Now, I say, me ko hanen kwande within 3 days, I was saying, Minya. The question is, if you didn't get it over here for 38 years, I had 3 months na personya.
You are watching the biggest. Lord Ackkham, let me ask you this question. Ebi mu po mo nte downloads ase na say na make downloads obi say internet na me download you no go dey forget obi are all practices spirituality, okay? Practice or practical obi betimi aka say me dey me nye theory me dey me ye practical and me dey me hwe book mu me share book mu and I mean share media me practical. If somebody is saying this, how do we look at that person?
Maame Grace. Where the men can question. And where the camera yefi. But I mean so me books amatroni. Nti say me so me practice mu no. Me practical na se nya me hu ne matro book. Na se wo kan book nti utie wu na me bisa me say. Na na nti so ye say na nanom wonim die bi won fa njaye. Na nya bia nim die no. Nyame ade wadom na se wo hia hu bia na wa bia bibi so kyerɛw. No, why then? Why enlighten on the truth within the universe? How would you save that for the future? If it is not through books, if it is not through giving teaching your children, if it is not to teaching your disciples for them to carry that knowledge on, then be an abeye. The book is only what the book is only an inanimate object carrying the same information that a human being will carry. In this situation, nipa na nya dan eni ho physically, but na asem na dan ewa ha. So what is wrong with it? Anyways,
the point is even that. How do you say that you don't do this, but you do practicals? And then we practicing.
On the more serious note, I think those statements, sometimes they are made to one way or the other seem superior. But obu onoma onim hwe eno so wo ho. Obu onoma enye se onim hwe se onim akenkan but huhum bitumi sane ni esini so. No ne ye den enante no kire no. Be no krampo no. So you be no maturo to me den.
Of course.
Because ene ya kire we o kina foforo beba into an kire anto aworo be fi. Into ye na na mabere so krampo no e be na akenkan ya kire nya den. Eni ho na ye ne den. Owa abofre bitene na ase. E ba ne tima no aye den waka kire no. Wei. Eba ne tima no aye den waka kire disciples no. Se ne abere bia ohia on betuma aye den. Abona aye den akai. Sane na ye den ye fa so ye den e ka aka ya de. To am chiro krampo na enye den wo kwan bia ye den wo preserve the same knowledge na ye den. And at the same practice now ye den wo ye no, there's still other alternative means of preserving it. So if you don't write, you still write it on your mind. So you either write it in a book or write it in the in the mind of the mind. That's all. Maame Grace, but in spiritual science there, nyame nim bia me chiro homa, say na members ebesua 100 years from now, 50 years from now, me ni here, my knowledge will still be preserved and people can still read from me and what I know.
Chiro na wabon na we see book ni eden wabon na wabon we
for
me be kire mo one na mo ahwe
where is reserved for members but we a special person. This is only for initiative and society but a special person now
maybe I will read this. I read ankasa abusia me be bisa no question bi na question na me be bisa no me di bibi kakra to for mama no Lord Ackkham 6 months ago I had a vision. I don't know if I should call it a vision. I had a download, and the downloads ade me school nimdie sa ntina afa me bisa doctors ni bi ade ni me hu a said ya watchro book yi me de pen na me de tro sa ade no eto ho na me hu said ya tie nyina ti me bisa for 6 months na me bisa doctors no mo ka kire me say me nya abotre na cardiologist bi India ni bi obeba Ghana oba omo be arrange na yehunu because na nipa mienu e na asem na me ka no I te say omo twe ma me kakra others ne de me kakra omo nim ne eko enti enne ya me ne wo kasa yi e na India ni doctor na ba e na Lebanese doctor ba ko kana ho e na Ghana ni ba ko de organize omo ma me ne ye me ensa ye tena ase e na me ka de na mi hu ye no e kire omo se mi hu se na me pese mo na mo akọ school enti mo kan kire me de wo ho apparently ade na me hu no eye bibia in fact mama nka kakra bi heart akoma na ewo ho no mo no ewo apparently ewo chambers eno na me hu no e na omo ye na so binya heart failure na omo kan na so omo de bibi de bypass omo to me the two man na bi omo say o arteries so clock ni de keke ka ho apparently ade na me hu na homa no any the way I make kire omo no Indian doctor ni is saying that ade a omo de check akoma no omo betimi a check ehu say akoma aha na block entimi nya blood flow but entimi nkire say a block akodu ha wo de bypass ni shemu a ebeye eduma nti obi omo betimi de ade na shemu ama no but obewu because baby but ahoma no the way I me kire na baby a me kire say ahoma no mfa no ebekọ akoto akoma ni main chamber ni mu a ahoma no betimi a kire chamber ko a blocky na se de America no meto me bo no omuhwe mu ebetumi kura ye se ewura mu a ebetumi atwe ade na ablocking no ewo mu a na ebe flash. Look at this. So it was only the Indian man who was saying that asem na wo kan so watwe book or chro.
And that's how we discover knowledge.
So I have come to realize that spirituality is more serious than tamiewu. Me nka say tamiewu nya. Me I see tamiewu as my way of life. Meduane ya me di wura. Na ya pe pizza anti say ye mpe wura ni biom na ye de spirituality ama. So I come to this question. The spirituality we are practicing in Ghana, and then na yebetumi aye pa de aboa country no eyi individuality na fi ho. Say ekwa to say nkofo problem. I'm heading towards a point. I feel that spiritual people need join force. Ochina time with Maame Grace Monshe, me agendas ni bi na me de tutu how I want to create African saints, how I want to create yanyankasa ye Halloween se ye pese ye yankofo no ewu wo circle no na ye de astrologers abem na ye tumi appointed date ni amani din de esi so we me wo a lot of things in my head. And na sa akoma de ye making this is spirituality. Me school kra he for pe brofo no for. So what I'm asking you now is that mama wo ade ani bi e de be important ye betumi yi nkofo problems na ato nchen na yetumi a join force a achieve e de aboa country no ama se president kura besi so na yes spiritual people na to nsafro dimirika obeko. What do you think we can do? Do you have any structures for this?
I think what you are saying now, the last time I came, I told you something about that 2 years ago. Maybe say I have an association. I was actually, I'm saying, me know the who come some time back, me boss could be, where we wanted to have an association for mystical teachers and mystical men, not just because already in the world traditional healers, any traditional councils, but something for those truly practicing the mystical path. No me teachers, no me to my impact, inculcate a gloomy people. No, we don't have association or a fellowship for them. I think I even have some few people be a many discuss here. 2 were my god brother and a sister who all went to India to become Swamis. And then 1 brother too who was also used to contact me some years back. And also the path ne dua, and also taking the path up. Wanted to have that type of association where we can just sit and deliberate on issues. The same thing is what India did. You think what we are seeing of Indian culture or the Hinduism today going worldwide? No, people didn't sit down. Yes. Yeah, we have something we call Arya Samad. Arya Samad was in India during the 1800s to the early 1900s. What did they do? It is still there till today. One of the major people of the Arya Samad was Swami Krishnananda. We have Yogananda and we have other Chidananda. These were all gurus in India. These people sat down. Almost from gurus nijina tanase. The guru from Shankarananda. Then in 1800s, 1900s, late 1800s, about 1950s, almost from Tanase said, "Nah, our culture must be refined." Though the Indian culture was growing and spreading to the world. Now say, no, our culture of practicing Agya, and I say Havan, fire sacrifice, any puja, in their system, no, in their culture, no. Over Vedas now, the only thing over there, Havan, fire sacrifice, and open a womb. No money worship songs. All money things, they worship no. So they sat and said, no, let's find something to come in there. No more say, no more start say, gurus no. Etna say, and okay, let's take this hymn from here. Let's take this hymn from here. Let's take this hymn from here. Let's do this. And no more fabricate a whole system of practice. Into through them, and ebenya and I call Indian temples are near kura yekura agni. And I say yekura deepam, yeka deepam as our life yekura deepam near the nam. God no. This thing wasn't a part of them. It wasn't there. It was later introduced by certain gurus. Who said that baby yen sum na yeden eduno e was yeden ye bie nyemem ye sesa nyemem na mo tena ase na mo ye even with the fire sacrifice no mo fabricate a whole new system which is more simplified than the old ones na they are complicated no to then make it easier for people to practice and I understand that ene afa baby o wiase ya no. So the question is to think that there can be a way. There's a way, but the point is we must find like minds to be able to do that. And that system should be strict to the extent say we shouldn't be biased. We should be able to strain and regulate it to a way say those who qualify to be there will be the ones to be in there. I think it's not only us. I know of one association in Switzerland where they also, we call them from witches, where the witches who are also qualified and have been trained, almost association. He says this is how you regulate certain things within certain fraternities or
Can
societies.
you put spiritual people in Ghana together? Is it possible?
That would be my next point. Now the point is, can you put people together? You see, one thing about mysticism and spirituality, they say we have one problem with us: ego. Every mystical person is egoistic, especially once you start the spiritual path, you are more egoistic than anybody. Also, and one thing you need to know is that when it comes to those on the path of the spiritists, not the spirituality people, but the spiritists, we from spiritualists. I don't call them spiritual, I call them spiritists because they deal with spirits. The one practicing spirituality should have been the one called what? The spiritualists. While the one dealing with spirits, gods, about some saints, from the spiritists. So the spiritists have one thing. You see, one way or the other, no, be to mission say, very, very egoistic. Because if you a bit of chia, or who by tema, a home so, a who, untio, because imagine say, my home, Nami want me come day, me want to pay woman I say, me want your maye, now be jana me say, me ABC. I told you 5 years ago, I took it upon myself. And I remember saying, we catch up before that. That was 2018, 2019. I did it. Where I also had my own crew. Now I call from one shrine.
The quest of Akabulan.
Yeah, before I catch up some time back. Yes. And I call from there trying to fine-tune the practices. Maybe I go pure techimai. The challenges we had over there, we had so many things because that is it. People are egoistic. All not about some Diano, why for years, soon about Chileno, and then also, the
point is, so we are egoistic, and then part the Bema who egoistic, na kosoro, so what to me at join the force, Namudi change, you can see a bar, a benefit you, be a yana better kosoro.
What is true to a hungry man? Answer that question first.
And you ask them,
yes, or be accommodating and going to carry who here, because Nipana or bills to ya, or danka to ya.
I feel now, Babella,
I found a Becca's own Johnny and to no better. Until once it gets to that thing, you can't put me hold the people so accountable because they also have desires and needs they must fulfill. And that one, no Jamawa, wow, to with me, man.
People have done it too. Now, India for the.
Yes, the Indians per se.
People have done
the
it.
Indians have more of a system which made it possible. Why? Because they have the ascetic system, the sannyasi system. That system is where udu baby, unyindu baby, and also giving up family life, material life. Now focusing on only your spiritual development. The Vanaprashta. What I say, a system as a culture.
When you have been a certain system now,
they've done it for centuries.
And that's what I'm saying. People set it up.
That is it. But over here, we don't have the ascetic system. The ascetic system is not a standardized one.
And it cannot be done here.
It can be
we
done,
but do it.
That's it. Doing it is one thing. Having people who accept it is another thing.
And sustaining it is also
another thing.
You are watching the biggest. Now saying the said they be at we say
you see, using the herbs and everything, I don't see it to be bad. The only thing is that when you begin to make it a god over yourself, because the herbs,
I'm not even saying it is bad. To me, I feel we can do bigger stuff when it comes to spirituality. And yet, I mean, those things are not things that I think we should do. I'm not saying we should throw them away.
Can I tell you where those problems are coming from? You see, this is what I realized in my practice. This is what I've realized. What I've realized, they say, most of the people who come to African or the African spirituality or the spiritual path, most of them are from Christianity. And these people are from a culture or a religious culture where the whole programming is about Obi Neyo, O Maame Neyo, Ofiefu Neyo, our Arembe Sunsum. So they live the religion thinking they are now awakened. This is where the issue comes in.
Seriously?
They live the Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism, whatever religion they think they are living, thinking they are now awakened. Now coming into enlightenment, unfortunately, they live the religion, but the mentality of there must be an evildoer, they don't leave it behind. They still take it into African spirituality. So they still live there, come into African spirituality, and they say, men down sorry not menya de menyeska, men down sorry na sika ba me bottom, men down sorry na spirit jama misika, men fahara we yaba, menya we na we yaba. So you realize say along the line, These people have only changed their religion, but not their mentality. They've only changed their place of worship, but nothing has changed around them. So when it comes to these things, it always goes back to where the programming is coming from. As I say, it always comes back to where the program is coming from and where the desires are coming from and what is motivating those desires and the things they are looking for. So sometimes, it is more of the people who think they are awakened and they are not awakened, who are only having a new set of belief in place of the old belief, but still holding on to the same mindset that they had in the old belief, in the new belief. We are Christian. Me cite example achira. We are Christian. Christian ti ya na ya bonsam. Na djuma nkoso a bonsam na ye me. Okoto obi mu na bonsam. Now we fi Christosum mu, my awake, my enlightened. Waba na nanom so mu, se na ye kana nanom so mu. Na this same waba na nanom so mu. Oyi apaya na nanom ma misika. Oyi apaya bom ho ban fi matamfo ho. So now the same prayer, but now you're not directing it to Jesus. You're not directing it to Abosom. The same person. So you realize that the same person will come to African spirituality. No practice here, no change in life. Now, but wants society, no transformation, and they'll be wondering, what have I done and what am I not doing right? The point is, the mentality is what must change first. Make myself say, who are the right mindset? Who are Christosumbo? Who are Kremosumo? You make that place a paradise.
Exactly.
You see, and this is what people do not get.
It's all about yourself.
It is all about the mind. But the thing is that we've made it more of, if I should change my mind, I should rather change my religion. No, you change your religion doesn't mean that you are smart now. You can still be a fool, still being out of what? Out of Christianity.
Wash a polished shirt.
As I say, it's all good, the same mentality.
You are watching the biggest and the largest. And they say, your friend is saying, Ghana spirituality. One thing you
need to know. I'll take this motivation from all those people who have also been it. I always go back to Japan. Japan took out Christianity from their country way back in 15th to the 16th century. Yeah, Christianity came into that country. One day, one general seized power, and then he said, "Some more money than and just and all lining up all the Christians in the land." That was how they were able to eliminate Christianity and then maintain Shintoism till today. The same thing happened too with China along their line. Before the Cultural Revolution of the 1970s, with General Mao. So realize over Europe also during the Renaissance. The Renaissance period was when they were having a renewal of thoughts, where Eastern thoughts of the Arabic or the Arabian Sufi thoughts were now coming back to the Arabian thoughts and the Greek thoughts of the Greek thinkers like Plato, Pythagoras, Socrates, Antelos, all those great thinkers, ever back to Europe, which has been dominated by Christianity. That's the Roman Empire with their Christianity over them. They also made the same challenges. But one thing you need to know is in the wake of every age with realization, it comes with two things. We always speak of the age of Aquarius, but what we fail to understand is that the age of Aquarius works with something. The age of Aquarius is ruled by two planets. And these two planets are what? Are Uranus and then Saturn. For information, the day of Saturn, which is Saturday, Saturday is under the influence of what? Of Aquarius too. So wherever there is Aquarius, there is Saturn. Wherever there is Aquarius, there is revolution. So anytime revolution is coming, it comes with two things, both the positive pole and the negative pole. When you go into Hinduism speaks of this age as the age of Kali, or the age of confusion, the age of war, the age of strife. So you realize that the age of Aquarian and Aquarian age, that same age, so aside say promising enlightenment, a promising knowledge, a promising realization, a promising a leap in what? In the growth of humanity, it's also on the negative side promises what? Abundance of ignorance, abundance of wars, abundance of suffering. So anytime we talk about Aquarian age, you can't the positive side and the negative side. No, they work together. Yes, they work together. Now, Europe now, whenever any realization is coming, realization the problem be now problem be identified. Problem at the banner say we are people who come out of that thing or who are evolved through that thing with this. One, we have those who become problems for themselves. 2, there are those who become problems for themselves and others. 3, there are those who become problems for others but not themselves. Why do I say this? Those who become problems for themselves are those who, through the awakening, they are now confused. Because you're trying to say Bible name, but he is so confused that only be able to guide him. Say, okay, say Bible name, Quran name, religion name, mate, but there's no tangible person inside. There's no teacher, no guide to then lead them on. So now they are not left in a vacuum. Why confused? So that realize that person now loses what? Purpose in life, loses focus in life. Such people are there. That population is there. And those who are becoming problems for others, they are the ones who haven't yet fully enlightened. But because of Nimdebi, they've now become teachers, teaching others in the ignorance that they have.
The danger.
And they are the dangerous ones. Why? Because who no kwari ni wiye. But the kwari na who wiye no, or for some who no kwari be a fit baby ame now in their not so fully flourished knowledge, no. I feel they are not yet the so now that's what the Master Yeshua will say. A blind leading the blind, they will all fall into a ditch. And then we have those who become a problem for themselves and others. They also fall into the same category. But the only thing they say, those people know, in as much as said they are destroying others, they are also destroying themselves. I can boldly tell you, remember Snibity, yeah? One of our brothers saw me, he's not a brother. Otie Obi, me body, Otie Obi on social media. That was, we are in 2024. Otie and way back in 2020, 2021. Say, there are herbs that can open the third eye.
Hey, I said when
I was radio Sunni TV, so I kasaya. Now show, no say weed, Indian hemp, ganja. But sometimes what me be a third eye. This guy was in level 200 UCC. Boy, you sorry so could be in the third eye fire. Now this boy has been mentally unsound. In fact, just about that basin there. Or the next year, sorry Sunni bibiara. So that, see, that's not only the problem. Because make problems which has come out of this situation.
You can't even go there.
You will be a coffee help a war and maybe say, what is so when you know, or one call what dream. Yes. Anyway, parasites in their war. Now, Nipanania says here. You see, things are happening. So, these are the people who become a problem to themselves because those people also know, as I saw the amount for also yebi.
Oh, yebi,
now I'm saying. This same situation make I think this one was very popular. Maybe I mentioned video no what TikTok me that show. This awakening message CBI what was it New Zealand or UK move back measure. This lady gather amount for say he the end is near and they have to actually transcend. And not come in a good demo. Amount from where Juma was cow. Come in she was just who was she? She was just a bartender. And not come one more professors. One more sika, one Juma. Educate you almost say the new transcendence never no the old world is so impure so they must transcend and the new this eclipse here it is there to usher in the new and enlightened souls from the old souls and these people down so music and no lucky omunyina dan ba kum and oni omoye the eshem and you know what she told them say silver water is the what? Is the water or the drink that they must take? That's the drink that will purify you, which is giving you negative ions, which can then make you lighter and your soul translates. And on your musha demu, and away yare men hospital. What you mean if you bush your and no more silver water or the silver powder? Emma, no. Only a mere domun yesi. Karma works very best when it comes to such issues like this stupidity. I don't know yare first before the name my yare would that. But now you severe sanity no. Ono yare ye. O yare ye. O da hono. Ono no suka chane members. Nse pa no call hospital. Almost say philosophy such as my ye so in that state you are no. You are under distress. So you're not thinking straight. There they that ho.
We feed almost.
We feed with the same mindset. So now you don't other demu. Ana ye fa silver powder. Ni de gu nsuom. Ni de inject no. Ni de wono.
I said the original.
Me say oye fita man ye say blue because of the silver. So on silver man the body nyina be e say blue e da dem ho finally osaso ye den ewu ho because she was suffering from cancer owu wi an say the police nyina be dey could you imagine say all this one no video almost say we nyina no sanso utwa because the mother is transcending to heaven and should be taking them along so all mama no say it is a time to go so
That is how she will live, you know.
Sanya man dey say sinkrofo bi mu kuku ebi no wura fi America bi si ye.
Yes.
O create a whole village. Meaning where you people want to go.
So the point is that is when those who destroy themselves and destroy others. I have those as well. Ebi na make can say or team message now on one father na why then. What say no. So you realize say when it comes to awakening, every awakening age, and the three problems there, those who destroy others, those who destroy themselves, and those who destroy themselves and others at the same time.
And those who actually are not mentally stable.
And that is true.
Multiple disorders. The omu hu niyama na yo omu say the omu
or enlightened.
Or enlightened. Only pani what problem. Enya easy oh.
So you see, so this path is a very dicey thing. And I always say, just being able to know, say, the Bible is not authentic is not enough. You must also have.
Now, this say, be munso, I want to learn the doors. Munso, omu di omu here in a be good spirituality. Be munso.
Because you do one thing, spirituality is meant to be a way. Say, once you become spiritual, religion is a prison. Listen, see, message is not in a Ackkham. This is where the problem is coming from. See, words are spells, and how you fabricate your words in the classical arts, we have something we call rhetorics. Rhetorics goes with logic. How you fabricate your words determines how a person can act. Let me give you two things right now. Maybe cite example. I did two. You find say Palestinian and Israel for kontokwa. So these two countries here kontokwa. Maybe presented assembly oshadie. Two soldiers say whoa, one from Israel, one from Palestine. But me presented net rhetorics near the etieno. There is it. Okay. A terrorist, a bloody terrorist, has been killed. A bloody Palestinian terrorist has been killed. And a second one, I report, Israel in the American. A loving father, a lovely father of two, has been what? Has been killed in cold blood. He na obenya tinkamano.
Killed in cold blood, yeah.
But for unknown to you, no, omutu niya is soldiers somewhere. Omu defend your country.
No,
but see how, as a news reporter, I reported the news. Ote na no uni ma 70 mo.
I say Jesus ni Judas.
Uni ma 70 mo. But when you think ama a lovely father of 4 has been killed in cold blood. Or when you think ama
the same statement.
But when you na call war, and no more as a soldier who call war so could defend your country to where the obewu. But see, one has been what has been portrayed in a way that I think I don't hear oh nyebi. Another way of rhetorics. Minu janipem, how rhetorics work. No one say rhetorics is a part of our lives. Minu janipem no maka asembi. Shasama beka no. Janipem bese meje ebia o iPad na ekura him starting. Mami, wonfo. Me show pa de wakoma pa. Ukura de ade bema. Uyo bia otimu nya den. Se na oti pa yankopa shira. Now sere. Nipa mu maka abo wabodin ama nipa nyina adan e believe because of accolades amena media ma ma raise wo image bi eden e wo nipa nanim me wi am de atua so umfa iPad in cheme
so wo wadwen wo hyehyɛ adwuma
ba na me iPad ya ma bisa iPad fa ncheme now I've put you in a place where udinaya image na wa building the confidence of people na building around you na be den we lucy oje mu so wa nipa bi so ma den magiko how would you do it?
How would you do it?
This is how powerful rhetorics are. Sometimes we put words across, we don't even know how powerful the words are. Something like connect with the universe. When connecting with the universe, you have everything within you. You can command things anyhow you want, and everything will happen for you when you want it, how you want it. Nobody can do anything to you. Religion is slavery. Live religion. But I can tell you, in spirituality, everything you want, you have it. Once you put your mind there, you have it. I can boldly tell you, I can tell you, and I can assure you that it's actually going to happen. Oh, the assurance I had at home. What's on there, Nipano? You see, you're putting so many things in place to make you look like say, me buy and then watch na me den. So I find Nipane back no enya, no watch na pa so ye den ebo odin bone. Also want to nature ebo odin bone. No, how you presented yourself is the reason why that person now hates you.
Ehonu mpo de ye nko ho nye din bone nko a ebinim so ni abotre. Say ye say ye tena se ne ya hwemu pa. Spirituality na ka say ebinim ama na ye difficult. Na ebinom so ama na ya adwendwen che say ekwan ni ho ba bia nti be ya aje wakot na America. Na why? Now mama be say a few questions. Mo questions ni bra na afeye nko. So papa what we say sorry them ye bon twene. music na ye bo wa sorry dem no. And the way omo bo wa sorry they have praises and worship the way omo bo no. And na wo ba sunsum sorry so a omo so bo ntwene bi ewo the way a omo bo no. And na wo kwa akomfo ne ho a eno so so omo bo ntwene ewo the way omo bo no ni nyina ye ntwene but omo nyina bo no differently. What are the frequencies ewo sa ntwene huduo yi emu na eden sunsanso na de be nipa na etie ne so.
Me da say about the music, you see, when you take all the spiritual cultural groups or all the mystical school of thoughts, even religion is a school of thoughts, it's a mystical school of thoughts. They all work on certain principles within an individual. And I would like us to know, they all work on certain principles within an individual. One works on the body. Obia on a center of focus. A hundred person obia tiase. Obiara want a center of focus. I want nipa nimu. A be focus. To get the mind. A be focus. To get the spirits. A be focus. To control everything around you. That is how it is done. Now, when you listen to the music, you're going to get something. One is to heighten you. Bear in mind, whatever I'm going to discuss, no, it's your baby, but a test is your baby. Now, the mind is in such a way, say, when the mind is exposed to something, the mind begins to actually what? Mold itself to the rhythm of that thing. Uti and yasin jom and starting in sa club on jom. Adentia, because once the mind hears that music, it started timing. That's why in music we have something we call timing. Ka, 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 ka. And you find one bar, ka, 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 2 bar, ka, 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 3 bar. So music has a way of what? Of timing. Everyone, my timing is by the kick. A bit to say, cha 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 cha. You realize? Cha 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 cha. That's 1 bar. Cha 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 2 bar. Into so na unconscious to you, no, say timing, but subconsciously, the mind is timing the rhythm to now move in unison with the rhythm. Into one say the same move now, no, same move near the another rhythm bar. I was not about to 29, which is what the number in time I spoke about in music. The same dance now, no, yeah, the another music and then the rhythm here then, and I say ne pace near then. Slower. The same dance, no, but I was not bad then. But 299 then. After the mind always tries to time it and then send signals to the body on which muscles must be contracted. The strength of contraction. How it must be contracted. The motion. So first the brain takes it, send what? Impulses
to the body.
To the body. Then the body now what? Moves in unison with it. Now, as this unison is being moved, it is not only moving within the muscles, it also has an impact upon the chakra centers within the individual. Wherever thought goes, energy flows. Wherever energy flows, thought goes.
I asked that question because sorry for no omo boss ade no omo de from angels.
Me bakura na me baso no. So now once they go into that state now, here is what happens. Where I say sorry for no and I say sorry there no. They play the frequency. That frequency is more of sudden hard sound. See, boom. As the Christians will do it. So Christianity plays more on your emotions. Plays more your emotions. So they put you in a state of emotional frenzy. That is why a Christian must be more emotional to give more. That is why even the preaching of a Christian pastor must first feed on your emotions.
Emotional control.
Yes. Hey. Yes. Now, when you come to a comfort, more of the emotions. Because a comfort is more of activity. So they must play on what?
High pitch.
On your active what? On your active what? Emotions.
It's
not about gung, 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 gung. You see? No, about gung, gung. So that kind of high, irregular high pitch, low pitch, irregular high pitch, and then irregular paces, no? It does now what? Moving you in what? In more of an ecstatic state. So that ecstasy comes in when that irregular pitch comes in. And in ecstasy, you don't have a rhythm you dance.
Mhm.
You just go by what? By anything that goes. So that in ecstatic state, no, and then put you in that what? In that state of your friend Ackkham no. Ti Ackkham no, you want your endwum ne freba, and you want your home so den e freba. But that's it.
Ba ne nyina yɛ nnwom na.
Ne nyinaa yɛ nnwom na.
Ackkham no ɛwɔ ayi akomfo no wɔne de Ackkham no ɛwɔ sunsun sorry dem wɔ no. Which is which because they look same. They look alike. Anyway, what has music affect the anatomy of the body in terms of healing?
Thank
Healing
you.
Music.
You're talking about sonotherapy or sound therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, music has a lot of impact. If nothing at all, we know of all the rays. We have delta, gamma, beta, alpha. All these are rays of life which are in themselves effective. Let's take X-ray. X-ray is just sound of a higher frequency, which is actually able to now actually break up certain atomic frequencies or certain atoms of your being to then take certain photographs of your being magnetically. So the magnet comes into actually and I say CT scan, which is more of a magnet oscillating or moving at a higher frequency, and that thing is able to also make certain photographic images of yourself. I'll tell you, say almost everything around you is sound. But how does sound heal you? In sound healing, sound can be pinpointed to certain aspects of your being or organs. I can say, do you know, say, at least if not at all, we are using radios to transmit. It is sound. Even the radio transmission itself is an oscillatory frequency, which is being transmitted. It's a vibrational frequency. It is sound. But why is it that we can't hear it? It is because our senses or our receivers are not in tuned or fabricated and designed to be able to sense that sound. But let's take the dog. Let's take the owl. Let's take the cat. Let's take certain dogs or certain animals who are able to sense certain hyper frequencies. They'll be able to sense certain things that we can't sense. So what you need to understand is that sound itself has a lot of impact upon the individual being. Let's take it to be. An example is the This sound is a sound, we call it the sound of the universe. If you can listen attentively, just keep quiet and listen. Listen to your condition. You can, in a low pitch, you can still hear the home sound over there. Listen to the sound of your car. You can hear the home sound over there. Anything at all around you, you can hear the home sound in there. Now, in Spiritism, we have a way of also identifying the home sound within you. We call it the hamsa, or the frequency of the body, wherein you close your ears. And when you close your ears attentively, shutting down all thoughts, or all divergent thoughts within you. Oh yeah, you feel the pulse of the heart, and the and the blood circulating. You feel the sound in you. That is the home sound within you. Once you understand the origin of the three principal attributes of God. In Christianity, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. Why did they use om? And when you translate it means what? God all-powerful, God all-knowing, God everywhere, or God all-seeing. Why did they choose the word om? That is the original name and sound of God. So when it came, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and the Word became flesh, and it dwelled among men. It is the om sound, not Jesus.
Hey, me na me can you. Yo, Papa, and then almost say, spirit, worry musicians, no crab na ye wo mu. Should I put the question right?
Okay, they say so we're selling the soul. Is that what you're talking about?
Spirit marrying or having sex with musicians or people who produce music or have great voice. What's the truth about this?
I would say in spiritual science, to boldly, emphatically, we don't uphold that principle of spiritual marriage over here. Over here, that thing has long been done and over with. Because spiritual marriage is more of a thought-born or a thought-creative entity. It was a reality born out of the thought of those who have come before us. And it is us and our duty to actually eliminate and cleanse ourselves of that thought. Make a thought born, I'm just say, a dream, baby, and the dream, I project here and created that astral entity within the cosmos that we call the spiritual marriage. Spirits do not really, as we say, have sex and marry. those things. Anyways, let me go in there. I'll give it to you because you need it.
Yes, I need it.
Yes.
It's
So
someone's
the
question.
spirits need to marry somebody before they can assist them. Not truly. Not really.
But say omo kom no. Ye nananom mu no omo tai ka. Ensuo no okoma no se nsuo na ware me. Wonti bi da. Nye.
Me da se sa asem no eye sa asem no eye mpanyin kasa enye ne tra keke. Bible mu no ye wu Jesus Christ ye de ne call temple of Jerusalem. Ye say abrewa bi owo 84 years. Eba be ye den ebe shira no ebe born esu. Na da abrewa na den she is the daughter of Phanuel. Phanuel is an angel. Now the daughter of Phanuel, unima beka say, ni papa na Phanuel. No. That statement simply means no then or your konfu anasa the or your sonfu anasa the or your prophet odifo Emma who my friend the friend Phanuel. You see the daughter of Phanuel. Phanuel is an angel, Phanuel is a spirit. Ebano in practical sense of mystical matters any physical or any physical party and I say ebano trick I can say who be a ponko and an konfu
and any ponko
and bano and asa ne ba and this year na den na yiri anane kunu say it na bekan uko nogokpo ya say nogokpo ya den bema nyoti ya no na den oba baba gbozuma nogokpo hunkafo na oya den oya bema na oya den otia no because ono no hum na den oba. Why do we do this? We say hum na ware not because hum na ware mama na kwan so no say u kom hum na hum nante a ware kwan so we perform the rituals for you like some ware because mbe nante abom afebo ante so why den wawu so enya prekope say one wo da pote say na ye kan no na mu amemre kwan so no eden
so just like union
union
enye say o waware wa ni obesulutu
oh aden ana nya akonfuma bebre o ana nya akonfuma bebre o wawo no mko
but said the gun thing that happened say wulo mo na ware akwala ketewa no say we had a conversation with the gentleman here and o can say akwala no ntimi nware but say drew baby na so person ware they could release no but say there akonwa no na aware.
And that's how it is done.
And it's on in that why do you release me when I want to marry someone?
Sadet because huhum bi no no nam ameka se me chiro unim say even crowd person ware konfo a o person ware obi o konfo a wo so kona kwaya amamre ema bosom na ansa na bafia be ya amamre ma oba na busua e de ebetu ni ti de bibia ma no
double and you fan.
Yes, why? Because you are going into a space of a spirit. We do that because now that entity is not walking alone.
Say mo connecting
nipa ne enyo no kwano nam inti say wo wonso ye kire kwan say ohogwo bi ye den
ba na me kenya
ye kan ka semu say ya ware be ya ware ampa na debi
enya ware ampa
debi
abusia ma wo questions ne mbra na
akonfo won pra no bebre
abusia mamu akonfo won pra fo
omo bebre omo won ba de bia ampa cho mo jai sana man ye huhu sa no
omo say enye hu nti obi ka na me na ne yire ne me e na okombo obosom na ware me enti na me ntumi nye we na edura na
ye omni se mpempi no eya na mo ye den omo kosa mba no omo suro because amamene nko abeya ansa na be ware oba na enko ade mua me kai me baba ko eye Florence owo techima se me ni so hwe me a me sister ba ko ono so na akoma ye ono so ye den ye be fa no ekotete no eye kranka nkuranza kranka ono no so be kana asem bebe bia ba meka ba ko list na ye honhom ne kire so ope bosom ne kire so ope emu nantwi 5 emu nkukọ emu ponche emu se emu bayire emu de emu wei obeya man mere wei snap wei ya be this
impossible for the person.
What you say enti no be man nya tis ase no ayeden wa twe ne ho
ase on person obi ade nipa na we ase
happening enti no se wa kokuduro no ye a eye wo de eno nkyere se entumi mba eno kyere se kwan da ho na mo kwan no eye mpampi ne se be ma beti se me ye wo ye wie masan ko ba ne fie asan ko je na ware ye no na ya asan foforo ayeden
omo so no wa sheda oye ni impossible no nipa naka omo mi omo play game
and minim confo minim busum ni team
busum no omo di teacher me be sada sem. You are watching the biggest abusia e man rain fi say ye tua tight ni offering wa ye tight ni offering ye den wo be like the show ye do so pa na ye view no but you like no endorse Jerome studio managers also mon like na mon support so say dia mo ye no mo nyo mo say ya me nka nkire mo nti na mo nye nti misre mo nye ma omo We watching a live from Jerome Studios and a Revelations and I was sharing with Lord Ackkham and Maame Grace and I discussing angels, spirits and their relationship with music and musicians. And then sounds of frequency in spirituality and now of spirituality. And no, and I discuss. If you do question time, and if our question, Fabra, Dr. Bernard Yeboah, or say, I remember music from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s are all different. And once it passed, no one listening to it. Does music control or direct the entertainment atmosphere of every decade? That's a great question.
Very intelligent question.
Yes.
That's very true. Music controls so many things around us. Let me give it to you. Every decade and the consciousness dominating that very decade. So that consciousness, let's not forget, say, music itself as a whole, as a whole faculty, has within it music business. So when you treat music as an industry, then you also need to fabricate, or you also need to actually write your music, compose your music to actually meet the time and generation. Imagine, yana na mabere so no yeba yebeyin say me ya oba enya me bomba obo ye ene yeba tete ye ana meboa ene yeba te yi Dr. Pabobo ni yi we wuda mama no so me yeba ti ni nyina anke beden we see that anke beden no time that the no your friend Burger High Life. That time no start integrating more of modernist instrumentals be in addition to our high life tune, no.
Any of trousers
akese. But before them, no, na Pabobo ne KB then we more time, no. Ankwado be no more time, no. Then no see then e wo ho. But the also when say in every generation we have certain words that are our catchphrases. And then ya brace worker slave queen a catchphrase. Oka narcissist a catchphrase. Oka mental health a catchphrase. Oka my body my choice a catchphrase. Oka boys I wild a catchphrase. You see every generation and the catchphrases. Actually I say from morning chemi oka otono no and I will a catchphrase. Oba wa hye nebo a catchphrase. You see all these things are catchphrases within a very age. So about the music business now. That is when I am musician also who Niema is selling within that time. Representing the thoughts of the people within that time. And they either their church or one jump. Meaning she cried him say, Abranti was a new way, AB Cransable, Mose Abandem. Sanyu is a very profane music. But see the rhythm he used because that was the prevalent rhythm of that time. And then Sanyu Manankobe used to be to say, Aboa, Otono, Aboa, and we'll be dancing. But that time, the Sanyu, no matter how it is, you want him never that to miss. You see, so the words can be the same, but the rhythm must be reflective. And the way of picking the word must be reflective of the mindset of the people. So yes, music reflects, does not control entirely. It partly controls, but also reflects the common consciousness of the people. The patch say, and do we adibia a influence population, no? And an influence population is here, your mentality is here, influence how music must be made.
Obi say ancestral plug or say this week Oziba is a catch.
Oziba, that's one music by Rema. O release the album, I say album near the HIM. And o release that song, and you acquire 2010, something as to beat giddy no. And it is selling because it's a reflective of our common consciousness.
You are watching the biggest and the largest Rack Abebe or say if you see Kappa Pebi what bomidie to us here. Your son humbled himself before you. I believed you, the goddess of our time. Thank you so much. What bomidie what mama for me papa. If you ska, that's just a makoye bibi me ho abasem. Kwaku Jamfi music or say please do some musicians really sell their soul?
Let's be real. Sadly, maybe so cultural. You see, in the music fraternity, there are so many things that go on. In America, you can't music fraternity, you can't certain terminologies in the music fraternity. And be actually when Woman enjoy sana ye tia sama ye nsua bi no mesrew menka menya kasete am person chere bi ya gaso bia selling the solar we mean say we enter into contract that contract not mean film e be saying musicians sometimes are sign contracts a contract no record label no e will say all throughout your life no be the obebon dwom na am I sometimes some of the record labels kra no ebra wo record label no so no afia e beto ama enye wo de car wo betwi enye wo de pamo e beto ama enye wo de se ba se wo free record label no so na se wo contract ne nso ya se na mani nye be je fi unsa. So when you enter into bad contracts that must take you a lifetime. And in music too, one thing that makes musicians money is actually publishing rights. In Germany, you what publishing right meaning say bibia eden esha most of the time the publishing right is with the record label. Any musician meaning say musician no official record label na say enye ne dia biem obeti musician musician bi organ ha no ma no hit ofi record label so na for stage to me perform Miss V ofi Links Entertainment in Juma sometimes when we interview no can say Ninjuma oya Links Entertainment nya releasing e bi o to me stage nya den and perform. Why? Because the contract says say nya oya bia and us na den e. So sometimes when
remember you cry omo man fans say recently ya no so fi Marvins Emma known to me born Jumbio because of 40% and 45%. Or call back no more adjusting a what started.
So when musicians enter into those things which is sucking them dry, obe born you for 20 years, that is when they say, I sold my soul because the bread in the sweat in your head and Ackkham. Let's understand what the terminology is. Any Christian evangelist American afa attention na ni Satan. And then just a conspiracy around what musicians mean when they make that statement.
Musicians into here for the omo sell you so though.
They be onye scan was sell so.
Uyo here ni dia answer that.
But the same record label na nia on hate you e was on the same record label na wa hate so so.
Eno ane asemi. Nso onu the on selling ni so. How people think. You are watching the biggest so boss asemo. Boss Asamoah. Or say Maame Grace, please ask him for me. Is there a spiritual significance to the sounds found in nature, such as bird song, flowing water, and the wind?
Yes, please.
Of course.
They are all.
Of
yes.
course.
Yes, they are all. You see, the sounds of birds is refreshing to the ear, especially when you need to wake up to do something. The sound of birds motivates. It's a motivating factor. Uyo bia ukoya dia ba why you very leaned back. I say anyhow be hesitant and I say why you reluctant. Just have the sound of birds.
They even come to wake us up to know that
yes.
morning.
Every morning be no but the sound of birds. Per YouTube be no bonnetie. It revitalizes you, rejuvenates you for the day. So the sound of birds have that kind of motivating factor. Now let's go to the sound of what? Of the rivers. The rivers is what? It's a calming what effect. Uyo be a why hyper, why upset, bibiara, bensio, netnensio, netiensio ni sound. You realize that calming effect it has upon you. The sound of trees is refreshing. It brings about what? Renewal. It brings about health. So every sound within nature, no, the quality of that thing, you realize within the sound itself. You make that say yes.
Yo, and Crawford questions on Kwana we are no we. Young Taylor, say Maame Grace, please. I like you to share knowledge about the power. Okay, I would share that. Today is not my day. Today is Lord Ackham's day. Say, hey, wait there. Amadou Musa, or say, please, what is the spirit behind Jama and its reflects?
Anyways, there's one mantra known as Boy. Whoever practices Kabbalah will know it. Boy is written like this. Boy. And this mantra is recited 54 times to negate evil or evil spirit or to overcome negative energy within every vibration. Now, that boy, you know, do you know what boy is? Cho boy. Cho boy. Where from the morale, whenever you hear cho boy, yay, cho boy, where from the morale when you hear this sound? Unknown to you, think that it is just something which is calling you to something. But no, the boy itself is a mantra. The same thing with yeah. Or aya. Aya, or sometimes spelled like J-A-H. Unknown to you, this sound is the mantra of fire. So whenever you say yeah, that is the sound of the spirit of fire. This same sound also is the spirit that dominates the mind. So realize, say, whenever you want to dominate someone's mind, make them calm, make them submissive, give them some time of chanting yeah. Just expose yourself to the sound. At that point in time, you become easily manipulative. Now, you can't sorry them chanting yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. And you think that sound
You're
is
calling fire.
You're calling fire. And that same sound itself, repeated what? Give me repeatedly. Also what? Also, me kind of saying, a conscious mind, no? Now I take you over the subconscious mind, which makes you more susceptible to impressions, words, and sayings. It is a yaka where we are never to switch the hodom. Yes. Into your say, we do my say from that point in time, so the yeah itself,
What trigger BB?
Within the subconscious mind.
They don't actually teach them mantras.
You see, so sounds are very powerful.
Oh, Casamna say,
Unim.
Edio. And yeah, easy. Where you be question, my mean, bisa when I mean, baby, you're not find a question if you, but it's important. Asante Saka, Anasaka. Also, what is the secret behind Roman Catholic Church who don't use instruments in the church, but only hymns?
Yes, Catholics use hymns and then piano, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Why do they do that? Because the Catholics are more of an ascendant practice. When I call it an ascendant practice, it is a practice that seeks to help you elevate and achieve a heightened spiritual state. Because in the Catholic Church, they say a religion. Now, religion being a person you're more spiritual. Unfortunately for you, the secret of Psalms, what you practice? Pentecost one. If you want to take the 6 and 7 books of Moses and read through it, you'll find them all the prayers going to in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And you think which people are the ones preserving all this knowledge for you or who use when? Catholic Church is a what? It's a church for spiritual development and spiritual practice. Oh wow. Bisa any Catholic they say, who are the Franciscans? Ask them. Who are the Franciscans? Ask them. Who are the Hezekiahs? Someone's there. Oh sorry, sorry now. I want to jana to one Jesus. Ask them who are the Hezekiahs. Ask any Catholic who knows his craft. Who are the Hezekiahs? Ask them. They practice Hezekiahism.
Catholic they nyama wo mu.
What way that? Ask about the Valentinians.
No more mudin kwa the martial lines in the account.
Ask about the Valentinians. So please, Catholic Church is very deep. And I can boldly tell you, that church is a spiritual church.
But they call themselves Catholic and it means universal.
Universal. And the Catholic Church, open the sinapa in ya, omu yusubuta, obi onim dibia kobisa bagachro, omu gunsa.
They do their
that is why the priest can always, Catholic bishop, a traditional gathering, was on somebody then a year pie, so for on yampo, because the Catholics know, or Koskua, 9 years not spending a seminary, you know. I was seeing all these things, including demonology. Into Pobia, all nim, no, a pure theologian, and then was so for 3 months, no? A Catholic bishop, no nim Bible, no nim yame. Unfortunately, we think the Catholics are demonics. No.
Okay, Leia anta who de one why numere. Nana yaw awilo. Or say what does it mean if music get to you on high level and suit your soul? What does it mean?
It simply means that you are aligned with the music. That's all.
Okay. Orlando Bismarckwe. Or say, Maame Grace, you are so beautiful and gorgeous. I'm just watching your face and not what he's saying. Man, who is that? Orlando, why they do so? Orlando, make you no catch feelings. So. You no go feel pay. I know they like that. Abdul Rashid, or say, Maame Grace, extend my greetings to your guest from Rashid in Suhum. ukro mu fo aba page ni so
Okay,
omo be
so-
hye wanuonyam omo be hye wanuonyam agbozo divine or say with music can it tame the soul? Of course. Hey, no.
Of course, yes.
I don't know.
Yes, of course. Why
I'm
can't it be?
asking because one can listen to a song and will start to cry.
Yes.
Does it tame the soul for the energy they are attributing to the song? Of course. And
Of course, yes.
yeah, no, your question.
Yes, music, does it tame the soul? No. But it actually triggers certain hormones and certain state of mind to be more emotional, to be more broken-hearted. That is it. And also, certain music can bring back memory. For they say, "Otie nyumbina nyumne say, ah, odo, na mene wa ye nyina, o hopo no start kai obi an ye den, onne tena ye, na oku hu nyina ye den."
The thing is, nyum ye everything. Who could you kura nyum betumi ama wejai?
Yes. Sanso ye wan nyum so be bo an wadi ewu.
Of course, it's
Oh, yeah,
everything.
metam for na ye be bone dia be kun. Yeah, so music is just a communication.
Me
Two wig.
You're watching the biggest. Abusia, Mami bisa tu we ni empona. I say time no ko. Is there any musical frequency that can attract spirits? Of course, we just said that. Peter Kwanzaa or say Mami Grace, please ask Lord. Hey, wait, is it not 2%? Okay, let me ask. He's here for you guys. Muna move voting by. Mami Grace, please ask Lord. Ask Lord, which high school did he complete and which course did he do? It's 2%, but answer. Where anything. When you just now one nickname be You are watching the biggest and the show need them say dedicating map Razak.
Okay. So
It's plenty.
hey, Miss Cooper.
Like. Yes,
Okay, so
like it.
I'm a student of Indra School, New Jamin, secondary school, Koforidua.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I'm a general arts.
Also, you're a general arts.
And to make us sign the brain, what you mean but I'm a general student.
Okay.
But I'm a student of mysticism and then world religions.
Okay.
Yes.
Me pacho so we here normal. Iyama K Aferi. Am I correct? Or say, can you please explain the process of sounds that can trigger tears in a person and how to master the emotions when one hears that sound? Thank you, Mami Grace. I think it's everybody and what he connects. Okay, you can answer.
Okay, so there's it. Frequency of sounds that can set you up most of the times are just the 369 frequencies. We call it in spiritual science, we call it the triumvirates. So this is how it is represented. So we have we call it the tricepta or the triumvirates in spiritual science. So in spiritual science, we call it the triumvirates. And it comes in as the physical, spiritual, then the mental. Now, within it is this very caravan, or we call it the caravan. Now, within the caravan, we have what you must understand. What do you mean by musical philosophy?
Okay.
So within the caravan, we have all the planetary frequencies or influences in there. So planetary frequencies in there are, over here is the sun, over here is the moon, over here is Mars, over here is Mercury, over here is Jupiter, over here is Venus, then over here is Saturn. Now on these frequencies, these are the planetary what? Emanation. These are the planetary placements. Numerologically, when you take this, the sun, which is the sun has 1-4 vibration, 1 and 4 vibration. Then the 4 standing for Uranus. So we have Uranus over here. Then we have the moon being this symbol, and the moon also having Neptune. So the moon has 2-7 vibration. Then we have Mars having the 9 vibration. we have Mercury having the 5 vibration. We have Jupiter, which is Thursday, or the planet ruling Thursday, having the 3 vibration. We have Venus having the 6 vibration, which is the ruler of Friday. Then we have Saturn, or Saturn, not Satan, please, Saturn, Saturn, having the vibrational frequency of 8. Now, when you look at this, you will say, these sounds are going in that number. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Let's bring this and then translate them onto this very mystical diagram. We are doing spiritual science now. We are entering deeper into occult science of frequencies. Now, once you go in here, you realize, all the sounds that adds up to 1, be it 100 or whatever, that's frequency. When you add all the frequency numbers, the numbers in there. So when you add all the frequencies, let's say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 will give you 6. That means under the Venusian influence. When you add up the sound frequency and it's maybe 369 vibration, that means 3 plus 6 plus 9, that will be the 9, the Martian influence. Bear in mind, in numerology, the number 9 is not fully assigned a number for a reason. Now, this number 9 frequency is the number or the name of God. I'm going to explain. Should it be 8, 8, 8? 8 plus 8, 16 plus 8, 24. That will be the Venusian influence. So each and every vibration you actually listen to, and then the planet that is manifesting at that point in time of the vibration you're listening to. Now, between paper. Paper. One thing you need to know is that though the numbers are here, we should go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which are just which I just actually demonstrated with the mystical diagram or the occult diagram, which is the tricepta or the triumvirate. One thing you need to know is that they don't actually have the powers in this way. The powers rather goes this way, anti-clockwise. So we have Saturn, or the number 8, being the highest power. So Saturn being the first, then it comes to Jupiter, being the second in power. Then it comes to Mars, being the third in power. It comes to the Sun, being the fourth in power. It comes to Venus, being the fifth in power. It comes to Mercury, being the sixth in power. Then it comes to the Moon, being the seventh in power. I realize that in actually giving the powers, we have 7. But in their numbers, we have 9. Meaning certain numbers are under the influence of certain powers and authorities. Now, on these powers, 3 of them are what works together, or are the energy vortexes. We call them the vortex numbers. The 3 of them is 3, 6. But let's not forget the 9 over here, which is the number of God, or the infinitum. As I rightly said, in numerology, Pythagorean numerology, we don't assign a planetary, or we don't assign alphanumeric value to the number 9. The number 9 represents God and God alone, because any number you add to 9 will give you 9, and will give you the same number. Any number you multiply will give you, so we don't add it. So from here we have the spirit being the number 9, the physical being the number 3. Why number 3 for physical? Because in the physical realm, we have the manifestation of the triune manifestation, which is physical, mental, spiritual, or the body, mind, and spirit, which makes you the human being. So you have the 3 over here for your physical or for your earthly manifestation. Then we have 6 for the mind, which is the intermediary principle. For information, the number 3 is Jupiter. And in astrology, Jupiter is the greatest force, which increases every influence under it. When we come to 6, the 6 represents Venus. Venus is for the mind, intelligence, subconscious mind. When we go to 9, that is for the spiritual heightened self. Any frequency that falls into these 3 will always lead you to the other. So if your frequency, you add the frequencies together and they give you 3. it is within the Jupiterian influence, meaning as you listen to it and then you operate within it, it can elevate you to the realm of the subconscious. Then the omniconscious mind. The same thing over here will create a reflection, a ripple effect, the heightened state of the spiritual self, or any sound on the 9th frequency will also create a ripple effect in the subconscious mind and then the conscious mind. So they are all interconnected, but the other ones are the ones operating therein. Now, for you to know which frequency is best for you, always know the frequency that goes with what? With a single number of 3, 6, or 9. But the numbers of 4 and 8 are numbers of chaos. The numbers of 4 and 8 are numbers of chaos. Unfortunately, when you study hip-hop before the 90s, although hip-hop started not too mainstream in the 70s, but hip-hop before the 2000s, from the mid-90s to the 2000s, became very violent. Why? Because they started using more of a frequency known as the 808. The 808 frequency, which is a way of actually timing kicks on music and a way of also tuning music. And the 808 gives a vibration frequency of 16. Numerologically, the number 16 talks about self-destruction. One who can't be able to get to the end of your life and